Alrighty folks, welcome back to the channel. It's Amiibo here, and today we are doing my first review of 2025, and that is for Dynasty Warriors Origins. Huge thank you to Koei Tecmo for sending me a review code of the game on PS5. I have spent the past week or so playing this game, grinding it out, and absolutely loving it. There are a couple issues we can get into, but overall, my experience with Dynasty Warriors Origins has been basically exactly what I wanted it to be. If you missed my most anticipated games video of 2025, I had it at number 10. This is my first time playing a Dynasty Warriors game on release. I've always liked Warriors games. I've played a lot of Warriors games, but specifically a lot of those Nintendo tie-in games, those anime games, and I've always really enjoyed those. But this is my first time playing a proper Dynasty Warriors game on day one, and being hyped up for it, and that's been a kind of unique experience. And for me personally, as someone I guess newer to the core of the Dynasty Warriors franchise, this delivered on exactly what I wanted it to be, and then some, I would say. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes is my favorite Warriors game, and I still think that remains true just because I love Fire Emblem, but I've been going back and playing a lot of the regular series. If you've been watching my videos, you know, I went back and played the original game on PS1, which is nothing like this, right? It's a fighting game. Went back and played Dynasty Warriors 2, some of 3XL, as well as 7XL on PS3, so I've just been kind of sweeping up this franchise, kind of experiencing it and learning more about it, watching a lot of other Dynasty Warriors creators on YouTube, and I'll say this: if you're familiar with Dynasty Warriors, Origins is going to feel right at home. This is not a reinvention of everything that Warriors is. If you like Warriors gameplay, the 1 versus 1000 gameplay that the Warriors series offers, you will like this game. If you don't like the core gameplay of a Dynasty Warriors game, of a Musou, I don't think Origins is going to do much to change your mind. However, if you are coming to the series for the first time, there is a demo available, and I think for me, part of the reason I love this game so much is that Origins does such a great job of introducing you to the characters and the story of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and just really making it a story-focused thing. You play old Dynasty Warriors games, and yeah, they tell the story through a lot of text blurbs. There are some nice cutscenes in those games, but Dynasty Warriors Origins takes the story to a whole nother level, and it is a story-focused Dynasty Warriors game, which has its own drawbacks, no doubt, as we'll get to, but for me, this is exactly what I wanted right now, and I'm very, very happy that it is the quality that it is. So in Dynasty Warriors Origins, and I would say this is probably the biggest drawback for a lot of people, I think a lot of hardcore Dynasty Warriors fans may have issue with this. You play as one guy. You have one character. You play as the Wanderer. You name him, right? You have 9 different weapon types, and what is, generally speaking, a staple of this franchise in that you usually have dozens, if not close to 100 different playable characters. You just have the Wanderer. There's no like hardcore arcade modes or extra content like that like you would normally expect. It is really just a story-focused game. You play through the story. There's a couple different routes you can do, and then you're going to be done with it. So the fact that you only play as this one character, despite having, 9 different movesets with all the different weapons, considering the franchise is known for having just a ton of characters, I feel like that's going to be a big issue for a lot of people. But having those 9 different weapon types and upgrading them, trying out the different combos and stuff, like, for me, playing just as this one guy did not get old. However, I definitely see a scenario where, like, the hardcore Warriors fans get a little irritated that you only have one playable character. What's weird is there are other playable characters in this game. Depending on what's happening in the story, you'll have a companion character, one of the actual lords or generals in the war, right? But during combat, you can press on the touchpad on the PS5, and you'll switch to whatever character you're with in battle at that point, and you can play as them for a little bit. They have like their own animations and stuff. It feels like Dynasty Warriors Origins is laying the groundwork for the next 10 years of this franchise. A franchise that, frankly, I feel like has kind of been stuck in the past, almost like stuck in like PS3 era, right? This feels like a major step forward in that, and that is why I think they did this. I think the Origins is them paving the way, and then, yeah, the next Warriors game you'll probably have your 50+ characters again. But go into it knowing that this is a much more intimate, personal kind of story experience where you really get to know these characters and you really have one character. You're not playing as 80,000 different people like you see in a lot of Warriors games. Just go into it knowing that. I did not even know that going into the game personally, but I didn't really have an issue with it when I realized, like, oh, wait, I'm not playing as all these different iconic Dynasty Warriors characters. I'm just more so experiencing the story with them. My biggest takeaway with Dynasty Warriors Origins, though, by far, I'm still in all of it, is the scale of this game. It has been a while since I was playing a game and I was actually, like, almost like kind of shocked by the graphics, which is not what I expected for Dynasty Warriors to do for me, and not necessarily just the graphics. Obviously, this is a huge, monumental leap in terms of fidelity for a Dynasty Warriors game, but specifically the scale and the number of enemies on the screen. There are times in this game where the amount of enemies that you are slashing through on the screen is absolutely unreal. Like, you play other Warriors games, you play them on PS3 and there's like, 4 enemies on screen. There's like this weird fog effect because the PS2 couldn't handle it. You play it on PS3 and PS4, they get a little bit better. Some of the more modern games certainly have a lot of enemies on screen. There are times where there are literally thousands of enemies on screen at once in this game, and it's just like a flurry rush of just dead bodies and stuff, and it is absolutely crazy, and it's the first time in many years that I've been genuinely impressed by like the visuals and the capabilities of a next-gen console. I was playing this on PS5 Pro. I did not notice any like major stutters or anything. It ran perfectly fine for me. The scale of this game is absolutely crazy. This game really delivers on that 1 versus 1,000 promise that started with the second entry in the series, or really the first entry being Dynasty Warriors 2 back on the PS2. They really, really delivered on that in this game, and there are just so many moments on different maps in this game where I was just like, oh my god, I cannot believe what is happening right now. There are so many like cinematic moments. It's so cool riding with your army, going to a different gate or a checkpoint to take over a base. And that's another thing too, right? I think a lot of people criticize the Warriors games because they're too easy, or you just feel like an unstoppable force of nature. And there are definitely times in this game where you do feel that. And it's an awesome power trip when those moments happen. But there are other times where you'll be on the ground running alongside your army, clashing with the opposing side, and these moments feel so like personal, like you really feel like you're just a part of this huge, tens of thousands of people army, right? You're just one soldier in this bigger thing. There's these 1v1 duels where you can kind of challenge certain generals and commanders and stuff, and kind of do like a one-on-one thing, offering even more of like an intimate experience. And if you play this game on hard, this game is like actually pretty hard. I've never struggled with a Dynasty Warriors game. I talked about this 2 months ago when I played the demo. The demo for this game was like messing me up. I played it on normal, and I would say overall I didn't really experience that many issues, but if you just toggle it into the harder difficulty, man, this game can get seriously tough, especially when you're trying to figure out, okay, I need to go here at this point, because it's not multiple playable characters, right? Like in something like Age of Calamity or Three Hopes, right? You're going to be switching characters all over the map. You're going to be sending them here to do that so you can switch to them. It's not like that, right? So you're playing as this one character. You really have to make some serious decisions of like, okay, I'm going to go with this guy, go take out this base, but then I need to make sure that this other NPC that's taking over this base, like I got to make sure they don't die. There's some serious strategy in this game that's, if you're playing on the hardest difficulty, it can actually be pretty tough. And then, like I said, there's those, like, 1v1 duels. Of course, this game has the, like, named characters you encounter on the field. You have your nameless NPCs that you're slashing through, killing in, like, 2 hits. But then there are also enemies that have, like, health bars. Even those encounters, just even outside of, like, the actual duels, those feel so much more intimate. You have this awesome parry that is so satisfying. There is a parry in this game that, like, so when an enemy attacks, they'll have this, like, yellow light or whatever that pops up. And, parries are nothing new to Dynasty Warriors, but for some reason with this game in particular, maybe it's like like I said, the grander scale of everything going on, but you see all these people running around you fighting, dying, and then you have, like, you're locked on and you're fighting this one guy who has, like, a huge staff or something, and you're just getting these perfect parries on them. It is so satisfying in a way that I have never felt from a Dynasty Warriors game. It feels awesome. Like, this game just feels awesome to play. It's a very fun video game. With that being said, I mean, the gameplay is more or less the same. If you don't like Warriors games, I don't think this game is going to convince you, frankly. The Warriors gameplay is what it is, and it's tried and true, and this game doesn't really do much to change that other than, like I said, kind of like the more cinematic approach here. You have your basic combos and your special battle arts that you can activate, as well as your ultimate Musou attack where you do like a cool, sick cutscene, and you wipe out an entire wave of enemies. Since you play as this one guy, you have 9 different weapons, like I mentioned. Throughout the game, you unlock those, and all of those have their own unique play style, and then from there, they all level up and have like new abilities you unlock throughout, as well as there's a skill tree, so you're unlocking, plus attack, plus defense. There's accessories you can put on to have different status effects and stuff. It's pretty, I want to say it's basic. It's pretty basic Warrior stuff. If you play Warriors, you know what you're getting into, but it's kind of refined to a T here, where it's just like consistently really fun. You're constantly unlocking new things, trying out new combos, and I really enjoyed it for that. The maps in this game are really, really well designed. Obviously, no spoilers, but there's some maps towards the end of this game that I was actually in awe of. We're talking about like the strategy elements of Dynasty Warriors. Yeah, you have all your different bases on the maps. There's a couple maps in this game where I was like, wow, we're really doing this right now. Like that, this is the design of this map. And it was just really cool. Like, just once again, like set pieces. They're focusing more on story here, more of that cinematic experience. And you're just having some really cool like Dynasty Warrior set pieces, which is not something I really come to at least the tie-in games for, it was cool to have those moments in a game, in a Dynasty Warriors game. The music is also just, good God. I know this has like been a thing. Like people always say like, oh, Dynasty Warriors have incredible music. And this is my first time actually playing all the way through rolling credits on a like named Dynasty Warriors game, right? I've played a lot of these other ones, but I haven't finished them. Actually playing through it and having all the music and playing it in like in the context of the game. Certain enemies will have their special themes that play. If you know, you know. Do not pursue this man. Good. The music. The music is so good. Especially, like I said, once again, it all goes to the scale, to the, improved graphics. When the music's playing, you're running through like a rainy battlefield. There's corpses everywhere. It just feels so cool. The music, it adds so much to this game. Really, really awesome job there. Something, I don't know if they revealed this before release. There's a pretty cool world map that feels like they really have finally understood how to present content in these games. I go back and I play the older Warriors games, and I'm just overwhelmed by menus. But this game has a pretty nice world map where you have your wanderer. You're just a huge little man on this world map. You're just walking around. You can run around with your horse. And you'll have your main story events that pop up, but then you'll also have these little skirmishes that pop up that literally can take anywhere from 30 seconds to like a few minutes. You have proper side quests that pop up. It all feels very gradual in that there was never a moment where I was like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed with all this content. There's just so much content, which I guess could be viewed as a negative for some people, but I've really appreciated the approach they've taken with like Persona 5 Strikers and 3 Hopes and even Age of Calamity, which I didn't love. They're really like kind of honing in on making the content that is there, I would say, higher quality. It's not just like, Hyrule Warriors has all those battle maps, and there's thousands of them, right? And it's just thousands and thousands of hours of gameplay. Playing through Origins, at least, doing one run through, it felt pretty manageable for me as someone who plays a lot of games, doesn't have the most free time in the world, right? I grinded this game for a review, but it felt manageable, which I appreciated. Like, I could see myself even going back and platinuming this game, maybe, because it's not just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different missions you can do. It is pretty... It kind of respects your time more than a lot of other Warriors games, I feel like. There's also support conversations with each character that like kind of, deepen your understanding of them, and these can even unlock more challenges for you to do based on each weapon. And these are great because they encourage you to try out different play styles, mix up what weapons you're using, and when you complete them, let's say one of them is like, I don't know, use 400 battle arts with a staff or something, or is they can be a little bit more complex than that. Maybe it's like use 20 tactics in battle or something. Completing these give you even more skill points, so you're just constantly trying out new weapons, upgrading your weapons. It's a very, very satisfying game flow. So overall, as my first day one Dynasty Warriors experience, right, my first time actually beating a game that is titled Dynasty Warriors, even though I have so much Warriors experience in all the crossover games, I love this game, man. I would still say I enjoyed overall playing 3 Hopes more, just because I think 3 Hopes, obviously I love Fire Emblem, but I think 3 Hopes does a lot of great stuff, incorporating the Fire Emblem elements of Fire Emblem into a Warriors game. But as my first time playing through and rolling credits on a Dynasty Warriors game, this was a fantastic first experience. And while I'm sure there will be some Warriors fans that are upset at the story focus, for me, I guess as a newer Dynasty Warriors fan, I really, really, really like that more intimate approach they went for here. And like I said, while it may be a disappointment to some, I think it is them kind of making a base here, right? This is their next-gen base. You're getting your one playable character with 9 different movesets, and then you have a couple companions throughout the game. But this is their base moving forward for, I don't know if they'll do Dynasty Warriors 10 or what the plan is for the future of this franchise, but this is a great next-gen start. And I'm very, very excited to see how they expand upon it with, I don't know, Origins 2 or whatever they plan on doing next. So, Omega Force, they've been cooking recently, man. Ever since Age of Calamity and, 5 Strikers and 3 Hopes, they really started honing in on, like, the story aspects, I would say. And now we're seeing that here with Origins. So, yeah, I really, really love this game. I think they cooked, and I'm glad I hopped on the Dynasty Warriors bandwagon before this game came out, because I played that demo and I was like, wow, I kind of really like Dynasty Warriors, So now that I'm done this, there's New Game Plus. I'll probably be messing around with New Game Plus for a while, but I do want to go back and actually finish up some of these older games here. Get a little bit more acquainted with the older entries. But yeah, Dynasty Warriors Origins absolutely gets a recommend from me. If you enjoy Warriors games, you are going to like this game, if for no other reason than just the sheer massive scale of some of these battles. It is just so much fun slicing through thousands and thousands of enemies like we've never seen before, because the PS5 can actually handle it, Or if you're playing on PC or whatever, right? Like, we're finally at a point where they're really delivering on that that 1 versus 1,000 promise that I mentioned. So that is going to do it for today's review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you planning on picking up Dynasty Warriors Origins? I believe there's like a 3-day early access, so I think you can already play it maybe when I'm posting this review. I'm not too sure, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, subscribe here for more content, coverage, reviews, all that fun stuff. I will have very different game, but I'll probably have a review up for Donkey Kong later this week. Get hyped for the Donkey Kong review, guys. And until next time, folks, peace.